Welcome, everybody. We got a couple new faces today. We got, first of all, as Jay is describing himself, he is JB's goatee. So, Jay Nelson, first of all, thank you, sir, very much for stepping in, part of the Sideline Sports Network. Big help today. We're going to need you.
The full Nelson.
Thanks a lot for having me, y'all.
And then also, I mean, how can we not introduce him? We got Mike Westhoff. He is former special teams coordinator. He's got a new book out, Figure It Out, My 32-Year Journey While Revolutionizing Pro Football Special Teams. Currently, the way you can get the book is Mascot Books. Just go on their website, look up the name of the book. Mike, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. Thank you. I'm doing just fine.
It's a pleasure to have you. I wanted to start off this interview, and I have to ask this because one of the first things when you look up your name right now, it's like one of the most popular stories. You can't miss it. Is, your comments about Tim Tebow saying his tenure was, quote, a disgrace and a mess. And I don't want to give away your whole book. I know that's part of the book. I don't want to go too far. But can you expand on that for just a little bit?
Yeah.
I loved that comment.
It's probably a little bit misinterpreted because the fact that what was a kind of a disgrace and a mess was not necessarily the fault of Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow is what he is. He was he's a Heisman Trophy winner. He was went to the University of Florida and had a great football team around him. What Tim does, he has a certain set of skills, and he can manage a football team if it's the right team in a certain way. Is he a big league NFL quarterback? I don't think so. And neither did Bill Belichick. Don't forget, they let him go too. It's not just me. When we took Tim Tebow on board, the idea was that he would be kind of a multifaceted guy. He gained weight. He got bigger and stronger. He worked hard. He was going to be a wildcat quarterback. It never came to fruition. Our guys didn't do it that way. They didn't utilize him. I kept my end of the bargain. I said that I would put him on my punt team. We'd run numerous fakes with him, which we did. We were very successful. It really worked. I like him personally. I love him. I had a great time with him. Do I think he's an NFL quarterback? Well, don't forget, I was with Dan Marino and Drew Brees, so give me a break.
Right.
It's probably not going to happen. No, and he's really not. Also, Vinny Testaverde and Chad Pennington. So what he was, if we had molded him into that, as we brought him in and promised, then I would have never made that comment. So that comment had less to do with Tim Tebow than it did to the way we handled him. And I hope you can get that as clear as possible.
Absolutely. And that's, that's why we do these interviews, because sometimes the articles, they don't do it justice to what is meant to be said. So I appreciate you clearing that up. Now we know. So on the topic of Tim Tebow real quick, and I hate to keep calling failed experiments, but, you talk about he's a good athlete, right? That's great. What did you think when they tried to make him a tight end? Because you worked with him. You clearly have good things to say about him. It's not like you dislike the guy. And you didn't think it was a quarterback. Did you think, putting on the weight when in Jacksonville, did you think him being a tight end was a possibility? Did you think it made sense?
Yeah, no chance. I would have bet my boat on it. And then don't get me wrong, it has nothing to do with athletic skill, because the skill's there. Tim Tebow is not, you give him the ball and run with the ball, he's very physical. You ask him to block somebody or tackle somebody, he's going to be playing baseball.
Okay.
Doesn't happen. People have tried to get me to compare him to Taysom Hill. They're not even in the same league.
No.
They're not in the same league. Taysom Hill will knock your head off. He can block. I think he's the best hybrid player that there's ever been. That's what I believe what he can be. Because as a hybrid guy, it can do lots of things. He's right there. Best I've seen. I'll try to find one better. Jim Jensen did a nice job for us, but Jim couldn't do some of the things. He was a great special teams player for me. Tim Tebow was not going to fit into that. I had one of my few punt blocks in the history of my career of Tim Tebow when he was our TP. And in a situation I didn't want to use him, I was going to use Eric Smith normally. But Eric got hurt. I had to use him. Well, they ran right by him like he was opening the door at church. And it was a little bit, I wasn't a very happy camper, to tell you the truth. So, no, it's just he's a different kind of football player. You put him in the right role, and I have a lot of faith in him. You take him out of that role, and it's not going to happen.
All right. Well, there you go. Real quick, gentlemen, do you guys have questions? I know I got some questions from JB here, but I want to turn it to you guys before we. JB sent me some questions before the show, but gentlemen, if you got questions, take them.
You said, and I think that's kind of a popular stance that Tim Tebow is not an NFL quarterback. But you mentioned Taysom Hill. Do you think that if given solely the role of quarterback, do you think he is or could be an NFL quarterback?
That's a good question. As much as I love him, and I gave him his opportunity, I got him going. I'm the one that got him moving. He had never dressed a game until I got there. You'd have to really tailor your offense to him. It's got to be a little bit like what Baltimore did, how they tailored that offense. They did an excellent job of it. Now, the problem with Taysom, if you look at his history, he's got a history of injury. And when he's playing a lot, he's been banged up. His last 2 years of college, it happened to him. Now, when I was there and he was playing part-time, a little bit for me, a little bit offense, moving in and out, he was fine. He made it through. And he's got to be there every time because, believe me, when he comes after you, it's 600 miles an hour. Here's a guy, 6'2", 230 pounds. He runs into 4.4s, and he can run you right over. So Taysom, he gets banged up a lot. Much as I love him, I have a hard time seeing him as a classic NFL quarterback. I think you would have to make a major commitment, and then I worry about injuries. I think he's perfect as a hybrid guy. Move him in and out. He's an H-back. You throw him in a quarterback, but he can throw.
Yes.
He can throw the football.
Yes, he can.
He can throw. So, toward Dan Marino now, I see what you're saying. It's a valid point. But he can throw in comparison to guys in that role. He throws excellently. So you have to keep all that in mind. Nobody likes him better than me. I talk to him quite a bit. And if it were my call, I would want him to be a multi-purpose hybrid type guy.
That's fair.
Even though I know his record as a starter. If you look at his record as a starter, it's pretty good. But I think that had as much to do with them being a much improved defensive football team as anything.
Correct.
Right.
Because he did win a game 9-0 at Tampa Bay last year, which didn't have anything to do with him. That had everything to do with the defense absolutely shutting down Tom Brady and company and holding them to 3 field goals.
I can't disagree with it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yep.
I would not have him as my starting quarterback in the NFL. And trust me, there's nobody likes him any better than I do.
Agree.
There you go. John, he keeps talking about Dan Marino. I'm shocked you haven't asked a question yet.
I mean, I what can I say? I love Dan Marino. I mean, I grew up a Dolphins fan. I grew up watching all the teams that you helped build, Mike. So, this is a dream come true getting to talk to you for me.
Ask some questions, man. I'm giving you the floor. Come on.
What can I ask? I mean, this guy, this guy knows Dan Marino.
All right, I'll take a question.
I mean, this guy's the coolest.
I mean, Jay, if you got a question, if not, I got questions. JB,
Go ahead, brother. You got it.
I mean, JB, who's not here, Mike. I think JB may have been the person you spoke to actually, but JB had a couple questions, so I definitely want to ask some of those, and obviously we may have some more stuff. But JB had a great question. You coached for so many years. Who was he called it your special teams warrior? Who was your guy? Who was that one guy you could trust when you were coaching them, that you put them out there, whatever the situation was, you knew they could get it done for you, whatever it needed to be?
That's a good question because you have to divide them into different categories. I would put Taysom Hill in that role. He could do everything. He could cover, he could block kicks, he could do it all. Also, though, because I had him at a longer time, would probably have to be Larry Izzo when I was down in Miami. And he was a Pro Bowl guy. He went up to the Patriots and came in and did a good job. But maybe at the end of the day, if I'm going to pick one guy out of it, I guess when I was with the Jets, Chris Hayes back in the day just knocked everybody's socks off, and Kenyatta Wright would blow you up in a minute, and don't write a letter home to your parents after he did it. He was so tough. I mean, he was a tough kid. I loved him. But I would go back to Bernie Parmalee.
Right.
I haven't heard that name in forever.
Well, you got to read my book because the story of how I kept him on the football team is one that I think is really, you could never do it today. It could not happen today, but I did it, and you got to read about it because it's really interesting. And then you'll hear how Bernie described it. That's what I think we did very well in the book. You don't only hear me tell the story, but then you're hearing Santana Moss, you're hearing Bernie Perdue, you're hearing O.J. McGuffey, you're hearing Zach Thomas, you're hearing all those guys that we interviewed. And so I think that's the thing that I love about this book. But Bernie Palmer, I loved him, and he was the warrior. He was really a warrior, hardest hitter that I ever had. He hit. And I mean, I took a lot of pride. I thought as a coach that the units I had were the most physical in the NFL. I firmly believe that. And I know everybody think I'm cocky and everything, because I probably am. But at the same time, you take it. I just loved it, and that's what we did. But it was always doing it the right way. I never taught anything cheap. Always taught from never above the shoulders, never below the thighs. That's where we played the game. But yeah, we're taking your head off. We're coming after you.
Right.
And, Roger Goodell, the coach that I have on my brick, he was teasing me this fall, and he said, "Mike, you're the last one to complain about the rule change. Can we change most of them because of you? The stuff that you did, it was so physical." And so, but yet, I thought we did it the right way. Bernie Palmer, oh my goodness gracious. He was really a tough guy. He played hard. He was a disciplined guy. He was a great, now he's a running back coach at Jacksonville. He's been in the league. He's a great young man. His story, I hope you get it and read it, because it's an incredible story about someone that came. When I found him, he was loading trucks for UPS in Muncie, Indiana.
Wow.
That's what he's doing. I signed him. You hear the whole story and the way we got him in the league. I couldn't be more proud of someone that did something outstanding.
Where can we find that book, Jake?
That is currently the best place to find it, according to Mike himself, is Mascot Books, which is the publisher. Go directly to their website, look up the book. That's where you're going to find it. That's
look up Mascot Books. The title of my book is Figure It Out.
There you go.
They'll deliver it right to your door.
There you go. So, Mike, I got one more question I got to ask you. And then, guys, if you have more questions, but if not, we'll go from there. You made your comments about Mark Sanchez. I have just snippets of what you said. So obviously, you correct me on anything that may be misinterpreted. Of course, I can only read what's written online. But you've made your comments about Mark Sanchez, and you were there for the infamous butt fumble. Everybody knows it. Everybody's seen it. I know it's just one of those things. It was a freak accident, probably, but I would love to hear from your perspective what you saw, what happened, because there's only so much you hear and what you saw on TV. I'd love to get an insider perspective.
That play was very smallly emblematic of that game. I mean, that game was a disgrace. We got killed. We got our post. We got our play. You name it, it happened that day. We got beat up. That play, that was an accident. Mark turned, he ran right into him and hit him in the fumble, et cetera. Yeah, everybody makes fun of it. That play to me was just as non-plausible. It doesn't bug me at all. I don't think it's one of those things that I don't know. Here's the way I look at it. The guys that are writing about that play and making a big deal about it, to me, they're the guys that never got picked in gym class. So I don't really care what they said. But that's how I feel. I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
I mean, I worked in the media for all those years, so I respect it. But with Mark, again, some of that stuff gets misinterpreted. Mark Sanchez was a very good quarterback for the football team that we had.
Yep.
We led the league in rushing. Damian Tomlinson, Thomas Jones. We had Ferguson, Nick Mangle, Alan Faneca. Those are good football players.
A fantastic offensive lineman.
That was tremendous. And Bill Callahan was the coach.
Yep.
Pretty good group.
Yeah.
Okay. You got Darrell Reedus on defense.
Yep.
On one side of the field, and everybody else on the other. Okay, go ahead, see if you can beat us. And I had an all-star team. We were a good football team. We weren't the sexiest. It was a manageable quarterback. All of a sudden, we're letting guys go, and we're going to turn us into the New England Patriots South Branch. It's the craziest thing I ever saw. So we go to 2 AFC championship games because we could run the ball, control the clock, go for it on fourth down, play good defense. I could score against anybody. and we were a tough team. We were tough. We would knock you around. We were physical. And we could go into Pittsburgh and beat them. I remember that time we had to win that game to get into the playoffs, things like that. And all of a sudden, so Mark, in some ways, Mark gets more criticism than he deserves because he kept him in that role. And I think he'd have been great. When Mike gave him the new contract, that opened up a whole new can of worms. Now you want to talk about maybe a mistake. That's an interesting thing, and that's why I had a hard time with that decision. That was very frustrating for me. But Mark Sanchez was a manageable guy with that football team. He was the right quarterback. Like I used to talk about Dan Marino. I said I think Dan Marino could have taken 25 teams to the Super Bowl. Mark Sanchez isn't going to take 25 teams. He could have taken us. He could have taken us. We were the perfect team for him. Other than that, I think you have to be a little bit reasonable. So sometimes some of the things that I've said about Tebow or Mark Sanchez get looked at I'm being terrible critical.
That's
They take them into context.
Yeah.
Context matters.
Context, that's your favorite thing to say.
And that's
I agree with that. I can't help it. I say it the right way. If you read my book, you'll see how I've talked about it even when I worked in the media. But at the same time, that makes the headline. Everybody likes it, so you have to deal with it. But I think you guys have given me a very fair opportunity to express my opinion and be fair. So I thank you.
Of course,
absolutely.
We don't do PC. We don't do PC here, so you can say what you tell us what you like.
Absolutely. I mean, look, those were things that I think were taken out of context. Probably, I figured they were. So you know what? Let's
Yeah,
give the
he
man
was
a chance
fair.
to be
exactly.
honest.
I did have one more question.
Absolutely.
And you were the special teams coach for the New York Jets for a long time. And this particular guy, I followed his career as a running back at USC. He joined the Jets. He was on the special teams. And I feel like it's very unfortunate what happened to him. Can you briefly tell us about the kind of guy Joe McKnight was?
I love him.
Enough said, huh?
He's one of my favorite guys. He worked his tail off. He came in, and it took him a little while to adapt to the NFL. And he had a hard time, getting really in the condition that he had. So we used to tease him all the time because he was always sick. He was always throwing up. But he ended up leading the league in kickoff returns. He led the league. He was the leader. He was first. And, so when you're first in anything in the National Football League, I don't care what it is, you're pretty good.
Pretty good.
And the terrible, tragic thing that happened, if you know him, he's not a violent person. And that person that committed that crime, of course, was found guilty and is spending the rest of his life in prison where he should. That was a terrible thing with Joe.
Yep.
He was one of my very, very favorite people. I can remember kind of helping him, getting him started right from the very beginning, and I'm proud to have done that.
Well, there you go. John, do you have any other questions?
No, sir.
All right. Then, Mike, if you want to just real quick, one more time, tell the people where they can get the book. But before you do that, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate all the stories you told, all the clarifications you provided us. Yeah. So again, real quick. Just real quick, we were just saying thank you for coming on.
Yeah, I really enjoy the book. I think it's a good story. It's a story about guys that kind of came out of nowhere and made it. And now we pretty much hold the records because the kicking game in the NFL has been so diluted. It's just different than it ever has. So it's something that I'm proud of. We did interviews with these guys, so it came out very, very well. And you can get the book. The book's called Figure It Out. It's available at the publisher, which is Mascot Books, and put in the title. Or in July, it'll be available at Barnes & Noble or anywhere, but it'll deliver it right to your door to go through Mascot. I think you'll enjoy it. It's a good sports story. It transcends a lot of things. And I'll throw one out at you. I'm going to throw this out, and I have not said this. I'm going to talk about it for just 1 second. Hardly anything we do today, when you turn the television on or whatever with news, that we see all types of disagreements and battles over race.
Yes.
Okay.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yep.
This book transcends it because These people, we came from all backgrounds, all colors, all religions, and all worked together. Now we pretty much hold a lot of the records that ever takes in that part of the game. And so a lot of the guys that I talked about are Afro-American, and they were talking about me, and I'm a white guy. And we figured it out. And so I think it's if everybody treated each other that way, with that level of respect, we wouldn't have a lot of problems we have in this country.
Amen.
So I think sometimes
Absolutely.
it's nice to hear a good story.
Mhm.
And this is a good story about good guys that have knocked their head off.
Absolutely.
And I loved it, and I'm proud to have been a part of it.
Absolutely. Well, Mike, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. I cannot wait to read the book. I'm very much looking forward to it. Everybody at home, go check out the book. Mike, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you,
You're welcome.
sir.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for
brought
coming.
some good points, and you helped me clear some things up. So thank you.
Absolutely. Our pleasure. All right, Mike, have a good one.
Have a good night, sir.
Good
Okay,
night.
good night.
And for everybody at home, we're going to take a quick ad break. And then, John, Jay, I'm going to tell you now, Jay, you are going to be the referee. You're going to be commenting, of course. But I'm going to tell you now, John, I'm coming for you, sir. It's going to be a bloodbath.
Is it okay if
3
I
out of
introduce
5
the topic?
against the Red
What?
Sox. So.
What?
Is it okay? Is it okay if I introduce the topic?
Oh, absolutely. I'd love it.
Okay.
We'll
gotcha.
be right back. Everybody,
Let's pay some bills.
just one moment. We're going to play an ad. We'll see you in a sec.
If you have a business, company, or product, and you want to reach the right audience, contact DBNA Television. DBNA TV reaches over 100,000 viewers a month and has advertising plans for all budgets. You can see your ads running on Roku TV, Amazon Fire, On Demand, and dozens of other top platforms for only $1 a day. Call our advertising sales department between 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday, at 484-695-5187. That's 484-695-5187. Make the call and then watch the results. It pays to advertise on the DBNA Television Network.
All right, Jay, take it away.
And we are back, and it's probably gonna get ugly. So I hope y'all don't have sensitive stomachs at home. Get your barf bags ready. So last night was Game 7, and before I get more into this, I just wanted to say that I thought that the Battle of Alberta was gonna go 7. And I felt like it was the closest 5-game series. Like, I had never watched a 5-game series that felt like it went 7 games. You know what I mean? I did not think whoever was going to come out the winner. I did not think that Carolina, New York was going to go 7 games, but it did go 7 games. It was an exciting series. The Rangers beat the Hurricanes 6-2.
Yeah, we did.
On the road, handing them their first loss of the playoffs, and only, obviously, because they got sent home. So, with that being said, because your team was the victor, Jake, take it away. Your thoughts on Rangers, Hurricanes. Go.
Baby. Oh, did it feel good? Because all I could think was John's comments from the week before. And John, I
live rent-free in your head.
Oh, John, because all I was thinking about was you said you would win games 5 and then 6. And I said to you last week, I said, you are not win game 6 at the Garden. I said it's going 7. I said just because we came back, we won 2 games at home. I said now the series is going 7. I said if we hadn't won those 2 games at home, it would have gone 6. I told you that's what was going to happen. But the fact of the matter was we won 2 games at home. I said the series would go 7. You were wrong about that, sir. I was with you and said the Rangers would lose this series. JB, who has commented, I love it. JB, I told you.
So we can't give JB credit for that because he has no idea who plays on the Hurricanes. So he doesn't even know.
No.
He doesn't even know who's playing in this series.
No.
He probably doesn't even know any Rangers players.
JB was right.
So you can't give him credit for that.
I give him
That's
all
like
credit.
Somebody that he's the same person that
John,
does the NCAA bracket.
John, that doesn't matter.
And gets to he wins the NCAA bracket.
John,
he's like one of those people that knows nothing about it, but somehow
let's
wins
move
it.
past this because congratulations, JB. You're the only one. Not the point though. I said the Rangers would lose in 7 on my fixed prediction. My original prediction, I said they would
So
lose
you
in 6.
can't brag.
No, but I can brag, John, because
You predicted your team to
John,
lose.
You never bet on your own team, sir. But do me a favor.
You're not betting.
Raise your hand if your
There's
team
no
is in the
bets.
Eastern Conference Finals.
There's no money taking place, changing hands, so it's not a
No, hold on.
bet.
I'd like to point out this real quick. I was the only one that could raise my hand because your team's not in the Eastern Conference Finals, good sir. They're
This
not.
is the same organization
So-
that wasted
so no, no,
Henrik
so-
Lundqvist's career, his
They
prime,
wasted
never
it.
got a
John-
championship. He got to one Stanley Cup and never got one.
John.
It's the same
John,
organization.
we're going to make arguments about other things that doesn't make sense. You're arguing about things in the past and talking
No, I
about
was
the
just
now.
asking. I was
That's
just
fine.
curious.
And
Asking
John,
for a friend.
That's fine, John. But the
Asking
point
for a
is,
friend.
that organization that you want to beat up on just whoops your butt in not one but 2 straight games.
Congratulations, you beat a backup goalie that had zero
No.
playoff
I don't
appearances.
want to. I'm going to mute you, sir, because I don't
One
want to hear
second.
an excuse.
One
Because-
second,
hold
Jake.
on.
One second.
Yes, sir.
So, we've heard from Jake's side, and he's got all the bragging rights, man. Drink all the champagne you can.
Oh, I am.
However, I do want to hear John defend his
All right.
side. I want to hear John's thoughts about the series. Once again, it was an exciting series. It went 7 games. So, talk to us, John, about your Hurricanes. Do you think it should have went 7?
Now, hold on.
Like how'd you
Jay,
feel?
real quick, I want to warn all the fans at home. Fans, cover your ears because excuses are coming. Excuses are coming. I feel like Paul Revere. The excuses are coming. This is not anything new for John because, John, we're going to talk about your Heat in a little bit, and you're going to make us some excuses then. I already know it, sir. I'll take the floor.
Go ahead, Johnny boy.
Well, I mean, we will get to that Heat, but
That's fine.
let me get this straight. You played a backup goalie with 0 playoff appearances, a journeyman who's played 0 playoff appearances in his
He's not
career.
a journeyman, John.
Journeyman.
Absolutely not.
He's been on a lot of teams. Then he broke his knee or whatever. The second pair win, it was a 2-0 game, still in reach, and immediately you score on a rookie 3rd string goalie, and that's the game right there. So, like, really, what do you have to brag about? Because we didn't have our Vezina Trophy, goalie. The guy that led the league in goals against average, the guy that had a better goals against average than your goalie, we did not have him for the entire playoffs.
Hold on, John, real quick. Don't make that
curious,
argument that he had a better goals against average because he didn't play as much. That's a little bit inflated. And I mean that he was a great goalie. I'm not taking it away, but he didn't play all of the season, so his numbers may have
because
fluctuated.
he got hurt.
I know.
the
I'm
last
just
month or
saying
whatever.
those numbers.
But he
are really
was
hard to
leading the league right before he
and
got hurt.
I'm not arguing with. I'm just saying to compare his numbers to the guys that played the full season.
Yeah,
it's a little hard just because we don't know what.
So I'm just curious. I'm just curious if you don't have Shesterkin this entire playoffs. I'm curious how you do. If you have to turn to your backup.
John, I'm going to tell you something.
If you don't have your Vezina Trophy finals.
It doesn't matter. B,
I'm just curious.
B, real quick, John. What did you say last week? That you would win Game 6. That wasn't ever an excuse. You didn't bring up
Confidence never wavers.
That doesn't matter. You never made the excuse that, Auntie Ronta this, Auntie Ronta that. You said before the series, actually, that he was one of the best goalies left in the playoffs with the way he was playing. So
no, I said the defense was smothering.
But you also said Auntie Ronta was playing incredible. Okay.
Also,
Auntie Ronta was pulled in Game 5 because he got his butt whooped. He lost bad.
No, he didn't. The Canes won Game 5.
Excuse me, Game 6. I'm sorry. You're right. I'm sorry. Game 6. He got pulled because he was playing like hot garbage. And I got to tell you something, John. Last night, he was going to get pulled again if it kept going the way it was going. The Rangers were beating the life out of you.
No, they weren't.
They were up 2-0.
At one point, it was 4-0.
Yeah, once a rookie goalie came
But John, when Auntie Ronta was playing, it was still 2-0. I'd like to point something out real quick to you. Okay? The games on your home ice. In Game 1, we scored 1 goal. In Game 2, we scored 0. In Game 5, we scored 1 goal. Auntie Ronta, in less than a full game, in Game 7, let up more goals in a single game than he had previously done at home.
Right. Also, context matters
series.
Because that was at the very beginning of the game. You know, that 2 power play goals, and then
So
nothing
what?
happened the rest of the game.
So what, John? He hadn't let up 2 goals in any game.
Power play goals happen, though.
It's like whenever a pitcher gives up a couple earned runs in the first inning, and then you get to the sixth inning and he hasn't given up any runs.
It doesn't matter. His
Kinda
start
like
is still
that.
tarnished by those.
No, I'm just telling you, it's kind
But
of like that.
It doesn't matter.
Whereas well, I'm saying Jay said that, you
No,
guys
I want to hear his side. Go ahead. The context.
Yeah. So, like I said, it was at the very beginning. It wasn't like you guys were dominating. I did want to point this out that after Game 5, I thought that they should have rested him Game 6 because you do have Game 7 in your pocket. And typically with goalies, you don't want to play them all 7 games in a series. Typically, like most coaches won't do
I
that.
completely disagree already.
So I thought that they should have rested him Game 6 because you have 7 in
That's
your
just
pocket.
silly.
You can just sit him, and if you lose 6, he gets that rest.
But why would you risk losing? Whatever. John, I'd also like to point something out to you real quick. Antti Ranta, who played all of the playoffs for the Canes, he played he was your starter. In Game 1 at home against the Bruins, and I'm going back to round 1, he let up 1 goal. In Game 2 was the only game on the road, at home, that he let up more than 1 goal. I take that back. It was 1 of 2 times in that first round that he let up more than 2 goals. And that was in an entire game. He let up 2 goals in Game 2, where you guys won 5-2. You're smothering on offense. Game 5, he let up 1 goal. Game 7 at home, he let up 2 goals. My point is, he let up 2 goals in the first period. Now, I understand by the second period we weren't scoring. But, John, we had 2 early goals. Our offense was crushing.
Bang, bang.
I do want to point out, because we haven't talked about it, which led to one of your goals. We haven't talked about the Jacob Trouba illegal hit.
What was illegal
which
about it?
Which he should have been tossed.
What was illegal about it? Tell me. Did he leave his feet?
He headhunted,
that's
left
legal.
his feet. That's not legal.
He didn't.
You're not allowed to headhunt, just like in football.
In game 7, he left his feet.
Yes, both
Absolutely
feet left
not.
the ice.
Who did he hit? I don't remember. So
he hit Jarvis, knocked him out of the game. Okay. Remember?
No, I did. Yeah.
I don't
know your team that well.
Our guy on the first line.
I remember the hit.
Look, I will pull up the play and happily watch it.
Please.
It was game 5, right?
No, this is game 7.
No, this was last night.
Oh, that was last night. My bad. Yeah.
It was completely legal.
Left his feet.
Did not
hit him in the head, and
hitting in the head is legal.
No, it's not.
Yeah, absolutely is.
That is completely illegal.
Don, I will put amounts of money
on the head.
You absolutely can. In hockey, you absolutely can hit a player in the head.
You're not allowed to go above the net. It's just like in the NFL. You can't go above the net.
You can hit a player in the head in hockey.
Maybe when you fight.
Hold on. Hang on.
Okay.
Here's the new wording.
Here we go. The rule is, sorry, Jay, a major plus a game misconduct shall be assessed to any player who injures an opponent as a result of head contact or who intentionally, let me finish, or intentionally or recklessly contacts an opponent in the head, face, or neck.
He did that.
Not recklessly. He finished his check. I will pull up the play.
He left his feet.
John,
if you leave your feet, it's an automatic penalty.
He didn't leave his feet. I will pull up the play right now. I watched the play 100 times. The announcers, they had an expert.
That was huge, yeah.
There was, everybody said the hit was completely legal because
Are you talking about people from ESPN? Because ESPN was all over the Rangers, so of course you're going to get that.
He didn't leave his feet. I'll watch it right now with you. I'll watch it right now. Would you like to watch it?
You got it?
Sure.
I got it. I'll happily watch it.
Oh, yeah, let's go. Right.
Because he did not leave his feet, John. I know he didn't. And don't listen to the title because people post whatever they want. It's to get clicks. This means nothing. And I'm not doing this to save my own case. I just don't. Titles are literally just to get clicks. Everybody knows that. So watch this play. So right here is Trouba. Oh, who's joining? Who's this? Oh, baby. Eric Wilson in the house.
There he is.
Oh.
There he is.
Eric, we will talk with you in one moment, sir. John, this is Trouba right here. You see my curves? This is Trouba. Watch this play. Okay, stop. There he is right here. Puck is gone. So he's finishing his check now. The puck is just left.
He went right into the check.
Jay Nelson, please tell me if those feet are on the ice because
I'm seeing right now.
Says they're not.
Right there on the ice. Absolutely.
So I have a picture stopped where he's not touching the ice.
Done. I'll rewind it again. When he's going into the check is right there. He's on the ice. He's going into the check.
Going for the head.
His skates are
on the
right
ice.
here.
I'm looking. His toes are definitively, at the very least, on the ice
right now. But when he launches,
his feet are still right there on the ice. I'm looking at his toe pick.
Still down.
Right there. And that check is now already initiated. It's over. His toes still on the ice. He's completed the check. John.
I just showed you a picture.
From this angle, it looks like it, but there it is. Oh, he's got another one.
Yeah, it's circled. His feet aren't touching the ice. Both of them.
That's hard to tell because it's ice. Because it's ice.
John, the hit was legal, man. But Eric,
what do you mean legal? You hit him in the head. It's like going across to the safety and hitting you in the head.
Come on, man. What you got?
Come on, man.
I know he's got something to say.
Come on in, brother.
Eric, let me ask you. Are you here because you want to talk about the Miami Heat as well?
That's why he's here. That's why he's here.
I want to finish this hockey talk.
We can talk.
Eric, is that why?
That series could have been rigged as well, so we can talk about that.
I wasn't trying to interrupt tonight. I just simply wanted to come in here and say good evening to everybody. John Shear, my brother, I just wanted to check in on you. It's like the Michael Jackson song. Like instead of Eddie, are you okay? John, are you okay? John, are you okay? Are you okay, John? Because
until the NBA stops deciding who wins these games.
John, we'll talk about that in a minute. We'll talk about hockey.
But John, I just have a question because normally when you are on the flagship Sideline Sports show every Tuesday at 8:30, you seem to come with the sense of bravado. Now, listen, I'm 36 minutes into the show, and John, when I came in, your head was down. You don't seem like your normal self.
I'm researching.
Can I finish, please? Thank you.
Please.
You appear to be in a different frame of mind. So I'm just checking in on you, John. That's all I'm doing. I'm just checking in.
Not at all. I'm just researching. I do research throughout the show.
That being said, John, you lost. Just get over it, John. You lost. I told you that the Rangers were going to beat your Hurricanes. Did I not say that? And you yelled at me on the sports arena. Shameless plug, Monday and Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. You said, you can't just dismiss my Hurricanes. I said, John, it's the Rangers. You're an expansion team. Okay.
No, that's not what you said. You said the Lightning were going to the Stanley Cup Finals.
I did.
And you
say
said
that.
it doesn't matter whether
they will.
You said it doesn't matter whether it's Rangers or Canes. You said the Lightning are going.
But here's what you're missing, John. I already knew that the Rangers were the better team. Okay. I already knew that.
This is confidence. I like it.
I already knew it. John, you have to understand.
Say one doesn't mean they're the better team.
Just because I'm a black man don't mean I don't know hockey. Okay, let me pull that to you right now.
I never said
let me say
thanks
that.
for putting racist words in my mouth.
I'm not putting racist words in your mouth.
John, he's messing with you. He is messing with you, and it's working.
All right?
That's not working at all. John, I'm just hanging out.
So your Hurricane. So now, John, see, first,
my food.
I'm glad you were practicing your golfing prior to the end of either one of these series, because
I was not. It's been over a week since I
lied, John. I've got receipts. You can't see it because I've got receipts from you saying to me, I'm practicing my golf swing, getting ready for the next Sideline Sports Golf Invitational Tournament.
Oh yeah, that was over a week ago.
Okay, but John, were your teams not both in their respective playoff matches during that time? Why would you be golfing at that time, my friend?
They weren't golfing whenever I went.
Okay. They weren't golfing? You mean
I was
they
out of town when the
real quick, John,
when the game sevens happened.
John, I gotta call you out, man. And this comes from a place of love. You know that everything does here. This is never out of a place of malice. But man, you said something really, really silly last night in one of our chats. Man said, and I'm quoting here. I'm reading exactly what not every team that wins in the playoffs is a good team.
That's true. I stand by that.
That is a ridiculous statement. From a man who is that his team lost to a team that was not better than his, Eric. And Eric, I
clearly they were. I knew they were.
I just got to ask him one thing, just one thing. Did you mean to say not everyone is the best team or good, period?
I meant good. I mean what I say and say what I mean.
Okay. No. I was just making sure.
And I
didn't have to read between the lines or nothing.
No.
Yeah.
Let me say this. The Rangers were not the better team, in my opinion. I thought the Kings were the better team. Now, I am happy they won. I couldn't be happier. I was watching the game last night, man. I was freaking out, screaming after everyone. I was so happy as a fan. But I knew going into that game, I was very nervous. The Canes at home were a great team, and I thought they were a good team all year. And their goal differential at home was astronomical. It was incredible. That's why I picked them to win the series. But, John, you cannot make excuses like that. And John, there was another excuse you made last night.
I don't make excuses.
Oh, but
I mean what I say and say
you
what I mean.
You said the Rangers are not a good team, period. So
They're not.
ask you, sir. I ask you this.
They're-
No, let me just ask you this. And I don't want excuses. Excuses
No
are
excuses.
then don't bring on Monty Ronto. I don't want to hear it because that's an excuse. Then why did your team lose at home 6-2 to my New York Rangers? Why did they
Context
lose if they're
matters.
not a good team? How do we
What's the
score
context?
6 goals on any NHL goalie? 6 goals is a lot. Okay.
'Cause like I
How
said-
did this? What is your excuse? What is your explanation for this, sir? Because
Because
I
like
don't
I
know
said,
how that happens.
when Antti Ranta broke his knee or whatever it was, and
You
it
know-
was
you know what
still
you're
a
up to?
2-0 game, you throw in a rookie third string goalie.
That's the
Of
excuse.
course, any team is going to beat that goalie. Like
That's the excuse. That's
it's not an
John?
excuse; it's facts.
John, we were up 2-0 when he went out. What's your point? You guys only scored 2
You
goals in
scored
the game.
4 on a rookie goalie from there
So
on out.
what?
But John, you're missing Jake's point. They were
I'm not missing
already
it.
up by
I just
2.
choose to ignore
We were
it.
up by 2. So
You were already up
all
by
we had
2.
to do was score one more goal
But
to
Jake
technically
asked-
win based on the way
Jake
the game
asked
went.
me how they won 6-2, and I explained it to him.
No, John. I'm not just
I gave
asking
you the
how we won 6-2.
explanation
John,
why
I'm
you
asking
scored
how
4
we
more.
beat you in the series overall because you claim we're not even a good team. So if the Hurricanes lost to what is not a good team, what does that make
That
you?
make the
Does that make you
Hurricanes.
trash? Does that make you literal garbage? Does that
So,
make
Jake-
you worse than not a good team?
So,
Does
Jake-
that make you bad?
When the Phoenix Suns lost to the Dallas Mavericks, does that make the Phoenix Suns a bad team?
No, I didn't say that.
Thank you.
But
Are the
they-
Mavericks a
but-
good team?
Yes.
No, they're not.
Yes, they
They
are.
They
don't.
have
They're-
Luca.
they're
They're
not
not
the
a good
best team.
basketball
Oh
team.
my God.
John,
No,
they're not.
How
the
no, that's
best
not a good
team.
basketball team.
Okay.
No. John. They're
Like
not the
that's
best
what I'm
team.
saying. Like the
They're
Mavs
not
aren't a
the-
good
John,
team.
John, if you
They have
said
Luca.
if
and
you
that's
said
it.
to John, if you said to me, does this make the Mavs the better team? The answer is on paper, no. In the series, yes, they were the better
Yes.
team because they came out on top. But obviously, I'd pick the Suns to be the better team just overall any day of the week. Obviously, same thing with the Canes and Rangers. I would tell you any day of the week, and I sat here on our show repeatedly picking against my own team as much as it hurt me and saying, I love my team dearly. I bleed blue, but I felt the Hurricanes were the better team.
Jake,
However,
Jake, don't ever
it
do that
doesn't
again.
matter.
Don't ever do that again. I don't care if you're down by 50. Don't ever do that again. You are a Rangers fan through
Hey.
and through. You stick
Yeah.
by your team
Oh,
no
I stick by
matter
my team.
what.
Look, when I'm making expert
If we have to
predictions,
sit here,
I gotta.
no, hold on.
Thank you,
If
Eric
we have to
Wilson.
sit here and listen
John.
to John Shear run his mouth day in and day out
Thank you.
about his Miami Dolphins, about his Miami Heat, about
Well,
his
it is
Carolina
coming up on
Hurricanes,
Dolphin season,
about his
so-
Shut up.
Baltimore Orioles, and everything, whether they're good, bad,
Look.
or indifferent, you stand by your team.
Look.
I don't
Look,
care.
Nick, I'm sorry if
that's
there's
fine. And
two
Eric,
of us
I
on this
mean,
panel
because-
that can look forward to the NFL season, and two
I
of you
look
that
forward to the
can't.
NFL season,
Texans
it's
and
fine.
Giants can't.
Eric,
Eric and I
No,
can.
I still
I'm
can.
sorry.
Real quick, and then I want to get to
Can.
basketball because I know we want to talk about the Miami Heat. 'Cause,
Yeah.
John, you guys suffer even more tonight because this is the roast of John Shear tonight. Basically, that's what's
roast?
basically
Can
going on.
I introduce this topic?
Yeah, give me 1 second. I want to say
Please
this.
bring
and
up the
then
heat,
absolutely,
please,
Jay.
because you know I'm going to
Let
throw
me
it
let
right
me
in your face.
let me just say this, and then Jay, absolutely. Look,
All right.
Eric, man, when I'm making my expert picks, who do I think is going to win the series? I have to be impartial. Trust me. I wanted to say Rangers. I can't do that, man. I gotta be impartial. That's just the way I do it. So that's why now I get to sit here and gloat my butt off.
No,
and
you
say-
picked against your team. You can't do that.
I absolutely
against your
can,
guy.
John. I am happy to be wrong, and I'm admitting I'm wrong. And guess what, John? Unlike your Miami Heat,
You're like Pete Rose
unlike
betting
your
against your own
Hurricanes,
team.
No. Unlike your two teams, my team's still in the playoffs, sir. Jay Nelson, take it away. Introduce us on the last topic here, sir.
All right. And so, with that being said, on what is this Tuesday? Yep. So on Sunday night we had another Game 7, and that is the Boston Celtics at the Miami Heat. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown did their thing. They pretty much dominated the entire game, and the Miami Heat went down. They actually had a couple of great runs to come back, but it's like the Celtics just kept on widening the gap, and then down the stretch, Heat make it a 2-point game. Then it was Jimmy Butler's shot, which I'm pretty sure we're going to go into. But I called Boston Celtics in 7. I commented on the Sports Arena in the comments. Also commented on the Sip Off. I've commented on Sideline Sports. So I want to start this off with John himself.
Hold on,
Johnny
Jay.
boy.
Give me 2 seconds. Eric, I'm going to text you something right now. I know the excuses he's going to make. I'm
No
texting
excuse.
you. I'm going to text you exactly
I
what
just
he's
want to know if
I'm
the
texting-
NBA
hold
is
on,
rigged.
hold on.
That's all
Eric,
I want to know.
I texted you two things. I believe
just
these
wanna
are the
know
two
if the
things
NBA
he's
is
going to say
rigged.
why his Heat lost. I don't want to say it to John because I don't want to fuel his mind and potentially make him say things that he wouldn't have
I just
otherwise
wanna
said.
know
But Eric,
if-
you saw what I wrote, and I've been thinking. You
Yeah.
got it. Now, John, have the
Okay.
floor, please.
John, you got it, man.
This is the
All
first
you,
time in
man.
the
I
history of
just-
the NBA this has ever happened. It's the first time in the history of the NBA that we've ever seen this. How do you, in a game 7, when a guy and I could pull up the photo. I'll pull it up right now. What do you know? I got it on my phone. You're telling me that guy's near the 2-point line and you can review that as a 2? As you thought that was a 2-pointer?
Hold on.
Oh,
no,
I'm not done.
you're missing. John, you're wrong, though. No. They called it no point because he stepped out.
No, the reason that
John,
they reviewed it was because they thought that it might have been a 2
fine.
instead of a 3.
I just wanted to clarify they called it no basket because they say he stepped
No,
out.
I know.
I just wanted to clarify. That's all.
But I'm just telling you, how do you, when he's nowhere near the 2-point line, how do you review that? How do you stop it after minutes of play and you're like, oh, let's go back, and we thought that might be a 2. Then you change it from a 3 to he's out of bounds, which you don't have conclusive evidence because you could go either way with that being out of bounds or not. That's like a 50-50. And we all know in the NFL, in any replay, if it's not conclusive 100%, you cannot overturn it. So that's my question, is how in the world, all of that I just gave you, how can the NBA still go through with being like, yeah, we're still going to go ahead and take those points off.
So real quick, Eric.
None of that makes sense.
Point number 1 made already. I'm already 1 for 1. Absolutely.
That's not an excuse.
No,
those are legitimate questions.
John, I'm not just calling. I'm just saying there were 2 things I knew you might be bringing up, and I'm already correct about one of them. The refs and the calls. I'm just saying to Eric, who knows what I said, that there was something I knew you'd say.
Who made the call, John? Did the refs make that call?
No, I'm not saying like the refs made 50 bad calls. I'm saying this
I know,
one,
but
one
we're saying
specific play makes no sense.
So, John, what you're saying, if I'm understanding you correctly, is
and it wasn't even from the refs. It was from
John. I'm trying to defend you here, but I mean,
I know. I'm just telling you.
Listen, just take it down a notch. You're at a 14. I need you at an 11 right now. Just calm down.
The game's already over. You can't change it.
Let me ask you this. So you're saying that particular call, based on the evidence that you provided, was the difference between Miami winning and Boston?
No, I never said
Miami.
that.
Okay,
so
clarification.
I'm just asking because we don't know butterfly effect. We have no idea how the rest of the game would have affected the rest of the game. We can't say that for sure.
Why did the Miami Heat lose this game? I'm curious your opinion.
I mean, I guess I didn't watch it. Like I said, I was out of town. I was out of pocket. I didn't get to watch any of it. I didn't even have my phone. But apparently, Jimmy Butler just went out. Horford, I saw the pictures, should have drove and tied the game and potentially got an and one.
Agreed.
Which I completely agree with.
I agree.
He played 48 minutes.
He played the entire game.
And the smart play is no matter if you have that Jimmy Butler, like I'm always against in the NFL when coaches are like, we're down by 1, let's go for 2 with 0 on the clock. We just scored a touchdown. Let's go for 2 and win it. I'm always against that because I think I always say this, take the points, then you go into overtime. You never know what can happen. And if your guys play defense, if you get defense first, trust your defense. That's part of your roster. So I'm opposed to Jimmy Butler saying, well, I just wanted to go and win it. No, take the smart, the high IQ play.
Right.
And so I'm against.
Is there anything else, John, that you think maybe contributed to this loss? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I just want answers to the Max Struss play.
So
from like you guys, because you guys watch basketball.
So Eric,
too.
I guess I was wrong about one of them, and that's fine. I'm surprised he didn't say anything.
I'm surprised too.
I figured you'd be all over. So I texted Eric. I will read you verbatim what I texted Eric because I have no shame in what I wrote.
Just when you think you know, John,
I said it's going to be about Tyler Hero and the refs. I'm shocked you didn't bring up Tyler Hero's lack of play, just him not being there. And I'm proud of you.
Yeah, Hero didn't show up. It is what it is.
Because I've been telling you that the Heat are a deep team, and all series they've had a lot of. Kyle Lowry's made a lot of bad plays in the series. He shouldn't have even been playing because he's just been an absolute disaster for them. Struss most of the series was surprisingly like I've been saying, the depth, like with Phoenix, the depth all year was there. And then for some reason in the Mavs series, like those guys disappeared.
So I'm shocked.
The guys that needed them, the guys like the Celtics, their depth came through, their bench came through.
It's funny, John. I
Or the Heat
expected
stepped in. If the Heat's depth came through, they beat the Celtics.
I expected the injury excuse to happen again.
I'm just going to say this, and then I'm going to take my leave because I know the show is almost over. And I want to make sure that Jake and Denzel, JB's goatee, get their point across. John, here's what I will say to you. I'm very impressed with your thoughts with regard to the Heat. I actually applaud you for taking the professional route because I figured of the two teams that were moving on that did not, I figured you'd have more to spew when it came to the Miami Heat versus the Carolina Hurricanes. Obviously, I was wrong. Sir, I will see you later on this evening and also tomorrow night. But we now can go golfing. So set a tee time. And my brother, you know I love you. I'll see you in 8 days.
I mean, John, look, I'm with you. I get the call was not I'm not going to say whether that 3 was a 3 or not. And I say that because
that's not even a bad call. Like that is like
I'm just
what
saying,
are you doing?
I can't tell you if that was a 3 or not. So I'm not
saying
that
doesn't matter. Like that doesn't matter.
It was just a bad shot. It was just a bad shot.
We're talking about
the stress thing. I think he's
the stress. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
so,
I think that's what he's talking about.
Yeah, no, that's exactly. So I can't tell you if it was a 3 or not. I agree with what you're saying.
Well, it clearly was because
no.
He was like
Don't give me
2
that.
feet from the. He was like 2 feet from the.
That's not what I mean. I mean if it was out of bounds or not. That's what I mean.
It's indisputable, so you can't.
Right.
You can't call him out of bounds.
I agree with what you're saying, and I also agree about Jimmy Butler. But I got to tell you, your depth. You're right. Just didn't show up.
It didn't show up in the series.
I'm very impressed because I don't even have to argue about this. I agree with everything you said. It's spot on because it was the Jimmy Butler show the entire time. There was nobody else to help him. And all I could think watching that was Kyle Lowry stinks because 2 things. Yeah. Kyle Lowry didn't show up to help score, and all he did was flop the entire game.
He's been terrible.
He's terrible. I'm like everybody. I make fun of LeBron for flopping because he does it. Everybody knows he does.
Jay, I also don't like Jimmy Butler playing 48 minutes. I think that's a dumb decision.
Real quick. Kyle Lowry may be up there with LeBron as one of the worst floppers in the league. It was terrible. I watched it. Some of those were good calls, but there were a lot of bad calls that shouldn't have been called, but they were called because of his flops.
I hate flopping.
It was
from my team to your team.
It felt like there was an actor out there, not Kyle Lowry. I thought I was watching Leonardo DiCaprio, not Kyle Lowry the whole time. Because man, can
flop,
he act?
do something else.
It was rough, and he needs to focus on his game being scoring, not flopping, because Jimmy Butler can't do it all by himself.
He can't, and to John's point, Jimmy Butler, and we may disagree with him playing 48 minutes, but man, he was all they had last night. Because I mean, if you really sit back and think about it, Adebayo gonna give you about 18, right? But we're looking for that other person that's gonna give you 20 plus. Because Jimmy's gonna get his 30, maybe even his 40. He had 47. Yeah. And he had 47 in game 6, right? He's going to give you that, but we need that second and third person that's going to give you like 20, 25. And don't get me wrong, Adebayo had his games where he did cross that, but for the very most point, he's an 18-point dude, 17.
He's like Draymond Green with a little more offense.
Exactly. So with that being said, and besides the fact, we just talked about Kyle Lowry, Tyler Hero didn't show up. Were they really as deep as you say they are?
They are. Their guys didn't show up, when they need them, and I think that they relied too heavily on Jimmy. That was my opinion. I think that
it's not a bad one. It's not a bad one at all. Sometimes you don't show up.
It didn't make sense because Struss, there was back-to-back games where Struss was I think the one game on the road he was 0 for 10. Then the next game he was 0 for 7. I mean, he had back-to-back 0 for games. So I mean, Struss, there was a lot of games where he was terrible, and most of the season he was really good for them. So I mean, I expected, much like Phoenix, I keep mentioning them, their bench, their depth let them down. They had a lot of guys like Cam Johnson and guys like that that you expected to step up and just kind of DeAndre Ayton. I know he's not a role player, he's not a bench guy, but guys like that don't score all that much, but you expect them to step up and then they disappear.
And you know what?
You need
John,
them in those situations.
You have 3 superstars on that team. You got Jimmy Buckets, Okay, we know he's the best of the three. It's not even
Right.
close. You got Victor Oladipo, and you got Kyle, Mr. Flop Lowry. Okay, who showed up in this series? One out of three showed up. Okay, Oladipo didn't do anything, and I understand he's not the main guy, but to score in a game 7, Kyle Lowry, he scored 15. For Victor Oladipo to score 9 points in 33 minutes, I'm sorry, that's pathetic. He didn't even break double digits. At least Kyle Lowry, despite all his flopping, scored double-digit points in 15. That's not good, but it's better. Jimmy Butler did everything. Jimmy Butler scored 35. That's great. But you need to have, with 3 superstars, you cannot combine for such little. You can't combine for 60 points.
So that's why we've
3
heard
guys.
a lot of rumors about them going to get either Donovan Mitchell or Bradley Beal is coming off season, or LeBron James potentially.
But John, what is that going to do for you? And I say
you're asking about
It-
another scorer
No,
that
I
can
know,
put up 20 to 25.
That's
Those are guys that can do that.
That's not it,
for
John.
you.
You don't need another star to put up 20, 25. You need the guys that you have, your stars, to show up.
No, but Pat Riley is not going to be happy. He's not going to be content with what they got. If he saw what he just saw, what you did, he's not going to be
I
content.
understand.
Pat Riley, I know, is going to go out.
I'm saying to you, you got to have those guys show up. Okay, when you have Victor Oladipo, Kyle Lowry, and Jimmy Butler, who doesn't think that this team's got a shot at a championship?
True.
Because your automatic thought would be they're all going to show up, and even if one of them doesn't, 2 show up, you're looking at a guaranteed probably 60 points between the 2, 50 to 60 points, because you're thinking they're going to score 25 to 30 each. And then when you have Jimmy Butler go for 35, if you got Kyle Lowry going for another 25, well, look at that. You got a great game going. Then you throw in Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo. Other guys are going to get you some points everywhere and some scoring off the bench. You're looking at 100 and something points every game.
You should be running 115 every game.
Exactly. But you're not.
But
And that's one of the problems with the Heat.
But that,
But
that's also,
I respect what you've had to say, John. I love it.
That's also the problem with being a jump shooting team in today's NBA or any NBA is when you're a jump shooting team, which the Heat are, you live and die by that jump shooting.
That's fair.
You have
and it's the mindset of a shooter.
Nobody's going to beat you if you're a team if your team's hot that night. But if your team, like we saw games in the series where the Heat just were ice cold from 3, then guess what? When you live that way, you die that way too. So
but real quick, and I didn't want to make this all about what the Heat didn't do. We got to give credit to Boston and talk about what they did.
Yeah.
Jason Tatum, the Eastern Conference Finals inaugural most valuable player. Of course, he was the shining star. Marcus Smart stepped up defensively when he needed to. So did Williams. So did Jaylen Brown.
Horford.
Al Horford, absolutely. Al Horford's like 56 years old and he's still out there.
Hey.
So. But the number one thing from my view as to why Boston won is because they took care of the basketball. Now, John, you can even attest to this. Because in the games the Miami Heat won, Boston was turning the ball over like crazy. And I remember looking at this team and I'm like, dude, if Boston will just take care of the basketball, they can win.
But that's what the Heat do so well. That's what they do is they clamp you defensively and take the ball away.
Right.
That's their bread and butter. So
So all right, we are running out of time here. So Jay, I'll throw it to you first. Tell the folks at home where they can find you and check you out.
Man, thanks for letting me come on here, man.
Absolutely.
It was an honor talking to Mike Westhoff and, of course, mediating. I know y'all too, Slipping Rivalries. Y'all do this like every single week. But it's about as normal as the sun shining. But you can find me, first off, later on tonight, Watch Confidential. It's going on at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so it's the best Cubs coverage. We're going to have about a 30-minute show tonight, but we're going to have Jordan Long. It's going to be hosting. Then also you can find me on The Gauntlet. That's on Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then, that'll be 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then also on Basket Bros at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's with myself, Dom DeRubis, Jacob Christner, and Will Vogel. Of course, the Gauntlet is myself, Dom. Happy birthday, Dom. Y'all be sure and
Happy birthday, Dom. There you go.
Send them some lovely birthday wishes. If you want to cash app them 50 cents, you can do that. And also with JJ Jenkins. Shout out to my brother JJ Jenkins. And thanks a lot, y'all.
Absolutely. John, real quick, where can I get you?
Blue Hawks 13, you see that right there. Make sure you're subscribing on our YouTube, Sideline Sports YouTube. And, I'm everywhere on Sideline Sports Network. So
Absolutely.
take it away, Jake.
You guys can find me on Twitter at Jake_Malik. But more importantly, like I do every single week, as you see scrolling across the bottom of your screen, here's where you can find Sideline Sports. Instagram and Twitter is Sideline Sport 1. YouTube and Facebook is Sideline Sports. We got a group, we got a page. Just look us up. You will find us there. DBNA Television, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. We are absolutely everywhere. Just look us up. You will find us. And on this note, John, enjoy the links. Go Rangers. Everybody have a good one.